Welcome back to a new episode of the Coffee with Creators podcast. I am your host, Michael, and I am a content creator, work from homer, pizza eater, dog owner, father of two. I really still can't think of a proper intro, but that's that's what I've come up with so far. Today on the podcast, we have Yi back. Welcome back, Yi, to Coffee with Creators.
Hello, hello.
Thank you for being here again. And we have a very interesting topic that we want to talk about today, especially since this episode is coming out on Black Friday. I think everyone's in a shopping mood right now. Are you in a shopping mood right now, Yi?
Well, technically, as of the time of recording, I am in a shopping mood. Ironically, I don't ever think I'm in that much of a shopping mood during Black Friday. It's always like the time leading up to it, as we have been trained by the media to start shopping on November 1st for Black Friday.
That's true. It's so weird. Like I rarely shop during Black Friday. It's like I don't even remember the last time I actually went out to go buy stuff on Black Friday. Have you gone that? Have you done that, Yi?
I thoroughly enjoy going out on Black Friday, not to shop, but to people watch. I think it's hilarious because you see the craziest stuff happen on Black Friday. Walmart. Actually, Walmart's a little bit too crazy for me. I have been there, and I thought, never again am I going here on Black Friday. I remember going one year in Santa Monica, and the people had crushed the display windows at Anthropologie. Urban Outfitters. Mm-hmm. The entire glass of the window of the front, the front of the store had just been crushed through. Which is crazy to me.
That is insane. Do you think that still happens though? I mean, even pre-pandemic, like before.
No. I think that was just because that was like many, many years ago. And nowadays, again, we're all online. We're all virtually shopping, so it's not a big deal. Actually, you know what? I just had a quick thought. Let's do a fun little exercise because you talk about shopping and you can't remember when the last time you went out to buy stuff. But just in general, can you think back to your three most recent tech purchases?
My three most recent tech purchases.
Yeah.
Actually, I did buy something just recently. I don't have it right now. It's in the car, but you're gonna enjoy this. I bought the Bose frames, the sunglasses. That have the
the sunglasses. Yeah.
I want to talk about that, but maybe I can talk about it right now. Basically, 2 days of using it. Pleasantly surprised. I'll say this, pleasantly surprised. And it's definitely something that no one asked for.
Oh, completely. Funny you mentioned this. I actually bought this as a Christmas present for my brother last year.
Oh, did you? Okay. What did he think?
The overwhelming feedback was it's too small for his head and it hurts.
Actually, that's the thing. So here's the issue that I have with it, right? Like the issue I have with it, I do have a naturally large head, but it's part of the technology for making the sound as good as they do on something like that is they're using bone conducting audio, whatever it is.
Bone conduction,
right?
Yeah.
Which basically means it has to make contact with your this part of your head.
Good contact, good consistent contact with the side of your head, so it can send the vibrations through.
Right, which means it does get uncomfortable. So I totally get that. So I used it for 2 days, entire day yesterday and all morning today.
Hold on, you're telling me that you wore these sunglasses
I did.
all day?
I was that guy who was walking inside.
God.
Why is this guy wearing sunglasses indoors? Because for a test. But what's funny though? I feel like people are a little bit more. This is my impression, right? I feel that people are more accepting of others who are wearing sunglasses, and it's easier for them to interact with these type of people versus the ones who are wearing headphones or earbuds. And so that's one of the interesting, you know what I mean? Things that I noticed about it. When you're wearing earbuds and you're walking around, you can tell that people are just completely going to ignore you. They don't want to talk to you because they assume that you don't want to be bothered.
Right.
But if you're wearing the frames, basically they're sunglasses. Yeah, it might stick out like an odd, odd.
But you can still talk to them. You like someone's wearing sunglasses, they'll still hear you.
Right.
It's hard for them to ignore you.
Right, and it's also like they don't feel like they need to not make eye contact with you, because with earbuds, like I can tell. Like for example, if I'm picking up my kid, and the person who's guarding the like who is in the front gate, he'll completely just ignore me when he sees me wearing earbuds, because he doesn't want to get into that awkward situation where he says hi and I didn't hear him. You know what I mean?
And you go, sorry, and he goes,
Yeah, exactly.
hi. And you're like, sorry?
Yeah, so that's like 4 seconds too long already of an interaction.
Yeah,
It should have been like half a second. But with sunglasses, you can just you can walk by them and they'll say hi, like no problem. So that's the thing. So again, I'm still forming my final thoughts on this product, but I got that one. I got a piece of tech. Actually, piece of tech. I can't even remember the you know what? I didn't buy anything else. Like the last thing that I got was from my wife. She got me something. Would that count?
What did she get you?
She got me the Mavic drone, the Mavic Mini. Oh, you know what? I did get sorry. I got the iPad Mini. That's it.
The new iPad Mini?
Yes, the new iPad Mini and the Mac. How could I forget? I actually got.
Wait, didn't you buy a MacBook Pro?
I did.
The new MacBook Pro?
Yeah. How could I forget? Because to me, it's like for work, so I can't really.
Yeah, the casual like $2,000 you just dropped on a MacBook.
So stupid. It's so dumb. How could I forget that? But yeah, I did get the new iPad Mini and the new MacBook Pro. I got the mid-tier one, the 14-inch mid-tier build. Flying through my editing, like I tried stacking a bunch of like 4K content on top of each other and did some rendering, and the fan didn't even kick on. And
that's incredible.
It's crazy. Like I was moving files, like 4K files around. They feel like I was moving JPEGs around.
Wow.
It's like whoa, this is crazy.
For reference, right now, because I'm working off of my MacBook Pro 16-inch previous gen, not the M1, and the fan is on full blast right now as we're doing this, and it's crazy. Like my fan kicks on for nothing these days, and I don't know why. Like my MacBook Pro, this thing costs like I think $3,500 when I bought it. And it's not that old. I think it's like 2, maybe 3 years old, and yet it feels ancient. Like this thing craps down so much. I'm like, what is all this money being spent for?
Exactly. It's really crazy how this one does feel like I think I told my friend, I said, this MacBook feels like I finally got the product that that is what do you call it? Like, that suits me in 2021. You mean like, you know what I mean?
It's like the product that they should have made. The product that I expected from Apple.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, but yeah, those are the top 3 attacks that I've recently gotten myself. What did you get?
Well, I definitely, courtesy of The Verge's early Black Friday holiday shopping list, I saw this link for this. It was a monitor. It's a Samsung monitor, but calling it a monitor is kind of a misnomer, because it's a 40-inch monitor and it just looks like a TV, right? In fact, it comes with a remote that looks identical to my Samsung TV remote. And so at some point, when do you call it? Like, when you call a spade, it's a TV, right? It's a TV. Freaking huge. But I actually bought it to use as a permanent digital photo frame. And it's so excessive. But if you think back to that product you reviewed months ago, do you remember? You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. I don't want to drop the name. I don't want to talk down about someone else's product. But if you go back in time on Michael's IG feed, you'll see a product that's a digital photo frame. And if you look at their price on their website, you will understand it is absurdly priced.
It's ridiculous. So it's ridiculous.
I got this digital photo frame because in the new place I moved into, I have this built-in bookshelf. And in this built-in bookshelf, the previous owners had left the TV mount in the center of the space where a TV goes. However, it only fits like a 43-inch TV, which is tiny by today's standards. 43 inches, what people use for monitors, like seriously, but ultra wide, 43-inch. Like I had an ultra wide, I think 49,
Yeah, that's the is that the G9, the one that's insanely
no,
long?
it's the Asus whatever
Okay.
Rogue gaming monitor. The Samsung also makes one as well. But anyways, long story short, I was like, you know what? Instead of putting a TV there, I just want a digital photo frame. I'm not going to actually use it to watch anything or consume content. I just want to put photos up. And so I put it up, and it's perfect. It just fits in there. And I hooked up a Google Chromecast that I had laying around. So I hooked it up, and I just have it playing one of my Google Photos albums. And it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Okay,
And
I can appreciate that. Yeah.
It comes built. It comes with AirPlay too. So like you can it's really easy to share stuff from my phone. Just like cast it up there if I want to for whatever reason. Overall, fantastic.
Is that a recent thing that Apple finally did, like allow AirPlay on different products?
Yeah, definitely like a big integration with Samsung. I don't know if LG has it. You know, people can comment or whatnot, but I know for sure Samsung does. So this has really circumvented the whole need of purchasing like an Apple TV. You know, like now I can just like cast whatever I want. So it makes my life so much easier. And I think Apple gave into it.
Yeah, because no one wants to buy Apple TV just for that.
I know, exactly.
It's crazy.
I can only justify Apple TV. This sounds absurd, but for a home theater system, so like back home, you know, back in my mom's house in the Bay, you know, she's got a nice little cozy home theater, and Apple TV is great for that. You know, 4K, HDR, you know, Dolby, everything. So
the UI is amazing too.
Yeah, UI is great.
Yeah.
Nice and simple for my mom. Actually, that's a great thing because for her, she has two choices. One, use the Apple TV as is, really simple. Or two, just use AirPlay and cast her content to the theater. Again, super simple. You know, these are like dead easy tasks I can teach her, and I think Apple continues to do a great job with that. Whereas Chromecast is the jankiest thing in the world.
It really is.
I just can't with Chromecast. Like I try to use it, and every time, like I think like more than half the time it just fails to do what it says it should do.
I bought the NVIDIA Shield. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
So that was like $150. This was like less than 2 years ago. I bought it, and I'm like, this is the fastest streaming, whatever it is that's available out there. It upscales the content to 4K.
Yeah.
It looks good, but honestly, in the last maybe 3 or 4 months, it's been slow as heck. It basically is as fast as a $30 Chromecast that I can get from Walmart or something like that, which is very frustrating. And I'm like, this is updated. And that's a thing, like to your point, like Apple does such a great job of keeping things simple and making sure that they run just as, smoothly as almost as the day you first used it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I just try to keep within the ecosystem, except for the Apple TV, because that's just, it's kind of annoying how,
because it's not built out enough for me to actually feel like I need Apple TV.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I just want to share my content. I want to cast my content. I don't need anything else. Speaking of which, did you know in the newest update, like Monterey, Mac OS, you can now do screen mirroring from your phone to your computer?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I saw it as like a tip, like when you install the new like firmware, and like the tips for learning about your new Mac. And I was like, I kept like next. I never look at it, right? But I was like, you know what? I'll humor it today. And I'm like, next. And it's like share your screen from your iPhone. I'm like, what? Who needs this feature, right? Like, who requested this, and why did Apple do this? I think it's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
I'm not complaining, but I just think it's such a random feature to have. You
know what's funny is that we celebrate the fact that Apple has finally done something that others have done for years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, yay! Yeah. No one's gonna make fun of us anymore. That's basically what we're doing.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, why do you ask that? Is it because just because of the holiday season?
Well, I think it's like, I realized that for me to, I think this might go for both of us. I know you review a lot of tech, and for me, I love tech, but I find it pretty hard to discover new products that are very compelling that I really want to buy. Like 2 of the 3 products you mentioned are Apple products, and that, I mean, granted, Apple launches new products every year, But I mean, those are pretty big purchases. But beyond that, it's like, the Bose. That's more of like a curiosity thing at the end of the day.
Yes.
Bose frames. It's the same thing as buying like Snapticals. This is it's like a fun little like quirky piece of tech that I want to try out to see if I like it. But it's highly likely that I will not ever use this, and I'm going to end up returning it. And so between that,
and also the frames, like it's something that I wouldn't consider really unless I see it on sale.
Oh, you know what I mean? Totally. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't want to drop 300 or whatever it is, but I'll drop like 150 or something.
Exactly.
Just to try it out.
Yeah, just to try it out. I'm like, okay, now I think it's worth risking that much amount of money just to see if it actually is good. But thankfully, most retail stores have awesome like return policies. I know it sounds like, I don't know, it's not the nicest or the classiest thing to do. Like, I'm gonna buy this and try it out, all having the intention of actually returning it like that. I actually didn't buy it with the intention of doing that, but it's also one of those things that kind of made me feel better about spending that much money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so far, like I said, like 2 days to almost 3 days now of using it, it's surprising. So I'm gonna give it like till the end of the week. It's just that weird time of the year. I think that, like you said, in the beginning of November, I've gotten that itch already, like that like I want to buy something. I want to reward myself. I'm using
or it's like
rewards.
I feel like I should buy something because I'd be saving money if I buy it now,
yes, exactly.
right? Versus trying to buy it later.
That's when you start justifying like the purchases. Like I bought it, during Black Friday, and so. Yeah.
Hold on. Before we dive into like Black Friday purchases, here's another question I'm really curious to know, and I'm sure the listeners will enjoy this. What is the most irresponsible purchase you have made that you can think of? Not like recently, but just in general that you can think of. And if you don't have anything, I actually have one. And
let's hear it.
I shouldn't. Okay, I really shouldn't say this. I realize on a podcast like this. I'm gonna be vague about it. Okay. I'm gonna be vague, but basically,
I think I know what this is. I think I know what this is. All right, go on.
Basically, I think, long story short, is I accidentally purchased a Audi R8.
That's not being vague.
Yeah.
That's not being vague.
I won't say what year it is or like, where or whatnot. And you might be asking yourself now, how does one accidentally purchase the Iron Man car? And to you, I say that's a totally fair question. Anyone would ask that. In fact, many of my friends asked me the same thing. And what happened is, basically, I bid on the car somewhere, and I didn't think I would actually win the bid. And now the reason I actually bid on it was because just a couple weeks before that, my brother had also purchased an Audi R8.
So do you think it's a case of FOMO kind of?
I totally. You know what? It was like complete FOMO. I was really missing. I had sold my Tesla a year ago before I moved out east, and it was due to practicality. I just couldn't have two cars here. So I thought, okay, I really miss having a nice, fun car. And granted, my current car is still nice and fun, but it's just not an R8,
Yes,
it's
totally
just not an exotic.
Totally get that.
So, I wanted to you know how like you might look up to siblings or whatnot. So I was like, oh, my brother's so cool. He got an R8. I want to get an R8 too. And wouldn't it just be so funny because it was like identical car basically, just different color. I thought, how cool would it be if we're just like, driving down the street in the same car? Oh. Anyways, I put a bid. Again, the bid I put out, the reason I didn't think I'd win it was because the car was actually in much better condition and newer, and had a better engine, better build than my brother's R8. Mm-hmm. So I thought, okay, if I put the exact same bid that my brother did, there's no way in hell that I win this. Lo and behold, I win the bid, and I'm like, oh, F. I was not prepared to drop that kind of cash right now. It was.
So tell them what happened. What was your decision? Because I remember this. Like, I got the call from Yi, and I'm like, and he's like, dude, I have a problem. I'm like, what's your problem? He's like, do you know this site? I'm like, I do know that site. What did you buy? And he's like,
Oh my
okay,
God.
this is gonna be a long story. And so he told me this story. But then you sat on it for like a while, like a few weeks, was it? Or
I sat on it
maybe
for like
just
a week. I sat on it for
Okay,
a
a
week.
week, yeah.
What, because the exchange between the seller and I was actually really slow. He couldn't seem to provide proof that he had the title for the car.
That's interesting.
And turns out he had this unique arrangement with the bank and everything. So in any case, he didn't have access to it. And after a week of pestering him for the title, like he finally got it to me, like maybe like a week and a half later. But that's just like a weird sign, right? Because if someone's willing to sell their car, and if you put it up for sale, I feel like though that specific documentation is the number one thing you have on hand to show eligibility and proof. Mm-hmm. So in any case, that happened, and then over that week and a half, like I was actually seriously considering. I was like, okay, you know what? This is happening. But then, in the wise words of my brother, he said, "Listen, you don't actually have to buy it. It's just a bid." And I thought, "Oh, you're right. I have a choice." I would lose on like some like seller fees or buyer's fees essentially, but for the purchase itself, like I can totally back out. There's like no one's forcing you. Yeah. And I thought, okay, well, let me consider this. Because if I was to go for the R8, I'd have to sell my current car, which is like a compact SUV, and it's way more practical, right? I can actually drive around and get groceries, and my brother can't do anything in his R8. Like 2 nights ago, he said, I wanted to go pick up some pizza for the family, and I realized I can't even fit a pizza box in the R8 anywhere. He's like, I can't fit in the frunk. I can't put it in the passenger seat level because it's too big. So I have to tilt the pizza. He's like, this car is useless. And because it snows where we are, like it is from now on until basically like Q2 of next year, it is just going to be stored in the garage, right? Yeah, so for a good chunk, for like 4 or 5 months out of the year, you can't even drive it.
Yeah. Totally understand that.
Yeah. So for me, I thought, okay, you know what? This doesn't make sense. I'm going to back out of this. So technically, I did not actually buy it, but I went through all the emotions of buying it. And I lost some money on this whole transaction and this lesson learned. So, that's my own little tidbit.
Okay. But that's interesting, though, because now I feel like what happens during Black Friday is kind of similar. Like, we feel like we force ourselves to buy something just because it's on sale. We definitely don't need it. Like, I remember I still have this conversation with my wife. She'll go, oh, I bought a bunch of this. Like she said, I spent this amount of money on this. And I'm like, why'd you buy it? And she goes, well, I saved money because it was on sale. I'm like, do you know how you could save money? By not buying it. I mean, that's the best way to save money. But yeah, like she has that FOMO. She feels like, I need to purchase it, because to this day she'll talk about like sales that happened like years ago. She'll say, I should have gotten it. You know what I mean? I should have gotten it then because it's like that was the best time to buy it because I would have saved. I'm like, no, you saved money because you didn't get it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need it. But that's the thing. Like, the media has like conditioned us, like you said, to shop at a certain time of the year. And it's like, we're just like robots at this point. No fail. People wait in line, and it's just insane. It's crazy. But yeah, Yi and I wanted to talk about this topic, not really thinking about it was gonna go this way, but it's really interesting. It's really interesting to see. But Yi, I wanted to ask you too.
No, hold on. You can't transition. Yeah. You can't transition. You have to tell your story. What is yours? Oh. What is your irresponsible purchase? There's got to be something.
No, this is hilarious. This irresponsible purchase. Well, I have two, right? The first one was more recent. Okay, the first one was more recent, and I bought a camera from Amazon. It was a Nikon camera. It's the P1000, I think. Is it P1000 or P700? Can't even remember. It's the one with the crazy zoom. Okay. Have you heard of this?
I don't know nothing about Nikons.
Okay, so this camera is the only camera in the market with a zoom that is insane. It was like 135 times zoom or something. I forgot. It's like ridiculous. Like, you could look at the moon and you can see the little craters in the moon handheld. You're holding it.
Wow.
it shoots 4K, so you can literally like spy on people. It's all. I'll show you some footage.
Are you gonna tell our listeners how much that purchase was, or are they going to Google it themselves?
Oh no, that was about 1,200. Like it came in a package. Yeah, it's not bad. It was irresponsible because I had no use for it.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only thing that I would use it for would be to impress my family by saying, "Look at the picture of the moon that I took."
I see.
And and it actually happened. It's like, oh, I'm gonna take a picture of the moon, guys. Look at this, and I'm like, oh, it's overcast. So we'll wait a couple more nights. So it's so dumb. I spent that much money for that
For a little party trick.
Yeah, for that party trick, exactly. But I returned it. If I were traveling, I could use that. Like if you are in, I don't know, the safari, for example, that's something that you could use to film animals. But I returned it, and so the the reason why I was laughing earlier was because the only other irresponsible thing that we bought as a couple. We were just talking about this yesterday to my brother, because we've been dealing with this for years now. Is a timeshare. And it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Man.
I'm trying to get rid of it, and it's just completely impossible. And I was telling my brother that having to sit in a presentation of a timeshare, and I've done this, believe it or not, multiple times because we felt
times.
Yeah, it's actually related to what we're talking about. It's like we felt like we were getting a deal.
Yeah.
We totally felt like we were getting a deal. And having done this so many times, I can promise you, for you guys who are being encouraged by salespeople to attend these timeshare presentations, it is not worth your time. Like that free cruise, that free whatever it is, toaster, I don't know, whatever it is that they're offering you, is not worth your 4-5 hours of sitting there and basically getting stressed out because they're not forcing you, but they're really, really trying really hard to sell you a property that you don't need. And we don't even get to use it. Like we got this before we had kids, when we first got married, and we're like, we're going to go on vacation every year. Maybe we used it once. And even then it was so hard to book because it's always like, oh, we can't. And then these are blocked off dates. So it's like it's like buying a car, but they're telling you when you can drive it. So
And then, it
was very bad. And again, it was all under the assumption that we're saving money because that's how they sell it to you. You're going to save money when you go on vacation, but it really isn't the case. So, we were just laughing about it yesterday. So I'm like, I would rather sit and wait in line in the DMV a whole week for an entire week than sit inside one of those presentations again because they're quite aggressive. Like these people. I
hear that. So I've never been to one of those, but I know they're notoriously aggressive.
Very aggressive.
Somehow very convincing at the same, like, altogether.
You know what's sad? I'll just share this one story. The last one that we attended was in Vegas, and we only had to attend this because it's so weird because we already have the timeshare, right? Like, we had time for this particular place in Vegas, and basically before we were able to book it, they gave us like a crappy room, and they said, well, if you want, we can upgrade you because you don't have enough points. We can upgrade you to a better room, a bigger room, whatever. But all we have to do is sit in another presentation. So like, damn it. I'm like, seriously? Like, you're still trying to sell us?
So you did it.
Yeah, so we did it because we had family.
You're like, oh man, okay, we'll do it.
Yeah, but we did it because we had family with us. So it's like, we need the room. You know what I mean? So it wasn't even a nice room, I promise you. But we sat there, and I had a newborn. My toddler, my 2-year-old was like running around, and our newborn was in the stroller, and we were there for like 2.5 hours. It was supposed to be just 45 minutes. That's what they kept telling us, and we were there for like 2.5 hours. And myself and my wife were irritated, but we knew how this game works, so we just stuck with it. But there's an elderly lady right next to us in a booth right next to us, and I'm not kidding. I'm not even exaggerating. The sales guy was almost like verbally abusing her at this point. He's like, are you freaking kidding me? You don't want to buy this? This is like the best deal. And she just kept nodding her, like shaking her head like, no. And she's very quiet, very timid because she's elderly. She was by herself. And he's like, I can't believe it. He was actually like slamming on the table. And he would get up and call his manager, and someone else would talk to her and be like, okay, the best way that we really think that you should get this. And I'm like, that's freaking insane. And I was talking to my cousin about this yesterday, and he's like, yeah, they are basically trained to be like complete sharks. They don't care. It's crazy.
So what prevents people from just getting up and walking out? Do you have to go through the verbal abuse to get your reward at the end? Is that what happens?
See, that's the thing. Like my wife and I know, like they're really good with, oh, let me ask my manager first, and they'll walk away. So they'll keep you there for a long time, right? Like it's like they're switching people. But for that elderly person, like she probably just was scared. She didn't know. Like if they started talking to me like that. Oh, actually, here's another example. So, God, why do I have so many timeshare examples?
This is like a really weird vice that is like showing its ugly side. That's like it's coming up all of a sudden.
I told you, this is my best advice to
terrible.
Anyone in life. Do not go on those timeshare presentations. But so the first time that we got suckered into this, like we were in Mexico, and the resort was really nice. It was really pretty, and the guy was very friendly. And I said, well, okay, we don't have any intentions of buying anything. He's like, no, it's okay. Just come with me. I'll take you out to lunch. I'll show you guys around, and then you can make a decision by then. I'm like, are you sure? Because we really don't want to buy anything. He's like, yeah. So my wife and I were we're very nice. And then took us out to lunch, and I'm like, wow, this is really nice and really impressive. And took us on a tour. And then as soon as the tour was over, he started to shift like almost instantly. He's like, I can't believe I wasted my time with you guys. I can't believe I wasted my day with you guys. Like saying words like that.
His tone just shifted immediately.
His tone shifted, and he was literally being mean to us. He's like, why would you waste my time like this? And of course, I got mad. I'm like, wait a minute. I told you we had no intention. Like, I started yelling, right? And I'm like, this isn't this and that, whatever. My wife was scared because we were in Mexico, and she's like, I want to go home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I get it. So they basically lead us to another room, and then another guy, like a young guy, he's probably like 24 or something, very personable, wearing shorts, like super surfy kind
casual,
of vibe.
Laid
Yeah,
back.
and basically when you talk to him, like your guards are completely down. And he's like, okay, my job here, speaks English perfectly too. He's like, my job here is to make sure that we can figure out what went wrong, right? He's like, I want to make sure that you guys were, dealt with correctly or whatever. And so he did the whole thing. Our gods were completely gone, and we were basically spilling our experience and telling him everything that happened, knowing basically later finding out that what he was basically was the closer. So he was there to kind of comfort you, and then he would very subtly say, you know what? For all that trouble, all that trouble, this is what they're offering. I'm going to do this instead for you guys. I'm going to keep it I'm going to make it like half off. So he would really try to close you, but a completely different style. And so you're taking almost, it didn't work for me because I was really pissed, but my wife's like, we should take that. I'm like, no, we don't. No, we don't. I said, no, we don't.
No.
Almost. And then as soon as we left, they're really good, but that's how crazy they are. That's how crazy aggressive they are.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So
wow, they
I
totally
should
good cop,
go,
bad cop do.
Yes, I think you should go and hire them.
I should. Oh my goodness, these are the ultimate salespeople of the world.
They're crazy. I've never met anyone.
Pretty impressed.
None of the car salesmen that I've ever met are anywhere near that
close,
aggressive. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, that was like one of the irresponsible purchases that we made because we're still paying for it today. We're not using it. It's crazy. Anyway, we went on a tangent.
that was a huge freaking tangent. Although I'm glad that I now know this irresponsible side of you, that really succumbed to the peer pressures of the world in a way that you are just paying for.
I am, and I think this ties in, really well with what we originally wanted to talk about. It's like that pressure that you're feeling, right? Like when it's the season, when you feel like you need to buy something and this is like the best time to buy. Not only consumers, like I think manufacturers and companies, retail companies and everyone else who wants to put their name out there are all diving in the same pool because it's like everyone says it's
the time. Yeah.
It's the time, right?
Yeah.
So how do you approach that, Yi, coming from a brand's perspective, someone who creates products and or selling it to the people? Like, do you play the same game? Like, oh, it's a sale time, you know, let's do this.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
I mean, at the end of the day, right? We are a brand, we're a company, and so we obviously go through the same considerations as anyone else. You know, it's like if you mentioned this, right? Because you see it happening, we clearly see it happening as well. So regardless of whether or not we like it, we have to address it in some way. You know, so in this case, for some products, we are a premium brand, right? We're a high-end brand, which means that we need to really care about our brand equity. One of my favorite brands to look at is actually Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton never does a sale.
Yeah.
They are, I think, the best example of a modern brand that has an incredible reach. You know, I mean, Louis Vuitton is the biggest and most profitable like fashion brand in the world, and they are a brand that never goes on sale. And the great thing about that is, you know, you can buy a product now and expect it to hold its value really well, you know, years later. So all of a sudden, as a customer, you're like, oh, this is an investment. You know, this is not just me buying something for myself; it's an investment. It's like me buying a 911 and being like, baby, it's an investment.
You sound like my wife. She goes, I'm gonna buy this purse. Don't worry, it's an investment. Like, no, it's not.
Yeah. So it's like, well, it can go both ways. You can buy that purse, and I'll buy this 911. We'll see which one turns out better.
Good point.
So, but the thing is, for us, we can't do that. You know, we don't have the same following, awareness, presence that, you know, these huge name brands have. And I mean, even if you think about Apple as a really top tier brand, Apple still has sales, albeit very small, but they still do sales. And the third parties that they work with, like Belkin, or I think like Native Union, or any of like the other third parties that they carry inside their stores, those brands still go on sale as well, even though they're tied and associated with Apple, which is like, you know, the moment you're associated with Apple, it's like, oh, you are premium.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, we really like, I've tried to convince myself and as a company to be like, okay, let's not succumb to the pressures of Black Friday. But at the end of the day, it's like, hey, moving units, moving volume is the end goal as a company. You need to get your products out. You need to move products. You need to make money. And the reason it's called Black Friday. Do you know why it's called Black Friday, actually?
I actually don't. I'm thinking about it.
So Black Friday is the day where, because all the sales are happening, it's when all these companies have a chance to get in the black, meaning that they can like they can be profitable for the year.
Right.
And, you know, so for us, it's like, again, we see all these companies doing these sales, and this kind of comes back to something we were talking about off air. It's about timing, right? Timing of when you decide to run your ad campaigns, and your promos and anything related to that. And, you know, it's a consideration, because not only do we see that, you know, Black Friday promos and deals are happening at the beginning of November, but they also extend past Cyber Monday. And now we also have this weird little holiday, Singles Day. It's becoming more of a thing in the U.S. I think it was started in China, hugely popularized. Singles Day is way bigger in terms of overall revenue than Black Friday is in the States.
Really?
Yeah, it's basically, imagine just like the biggest holiday sale in China, and then that should give you an idea of how much consumption goes on there versus, you know, how much we have in the States. And so if we have these holidays and everything's lining up, and then on top of that, COVID is still around, meaning, hey, if people weren't going to shop in stores, they really are not going to shop in stores anymore than they would, you know, a few years ago. So It's like, okay, how do we account for this elongated period of time? And when we think about everyone's going to be running ads, everyone's going to be running promos. So our cost to advertise is also going to increase. And we think about, what's the trade-off? Is it worth it doing right now? Or do we kind of just like wait until this whole holiday rush is over? And when it gets closer to, you know, to Christmas, and then we run some heavy promos then? we're just trying to get inside the mentality of our target customer, you know?
Yeah. No, actually, that's a good point, because I feel like, I think I did ask you this earlier, and I said, do you feel that if you go on sale on Black Friday and almost like do it every year, then you're kind of training your customers to just shop during those days, right? Like your brand
totally.
yeah, your brand is suddenly like diluted in that sense. Like, yeah, well, our products are expensive, but wait till Black Friday, then it's like 50% off. So now people are just gonna wait for them to go on sale.
I think the nice part, though, or like the counterpoint to what you're saying is, humans, in my opinion, are generally very impatient. So unless you found out about a product like November 1st, and then you think about, oh, I want this, you're like, okay, yeah, I can hold out for a couple weeks. And knowing that the sales are coming in early, chances are you're like, oh, okay, I can find a good deal right now. Like, this is a great time to buy. But if it's like June, July, you're not going to hold out for a Black Friday sale. You're going to think, oh, okay, well, what's the best discount I can find right now? And am I okay with that? Chances are you're going to be fine.
Okay. So you're not completely losing all your customers, is basically.
No, not at all. Yeah, it's more just like you are increasing your potential customers, but you're not losing on potential customers. Like, you're not losing out on existing sales or previous sales. There's obviously some overlap, right? But it's just more of a timing thing. But that window, in my opinion, is relatively short. Again, like it's like if I wanted to buy, I don't know, if I wanted to buy like the new MacBook Air or the new MacBook Pro, I'm not going to wait, and I'm not going to wait a whole year, a calendar year, until Black Friday hits again, and like, oh, okay, I want to buy it. I want to buy it then. It's like there's no need to wait. It's like if I want it and I need it, I'll find some way to justify it in my head.
Right. Yeah. Which is really interesting because of this new MacBook, right? Like, everyone started buying it when it came out, and to the point where it was basically not necessarily a waiting list, but the shipment for the new MacBooks would took a while longer.
Yeah.
They weren't available right away because everyone started buying them. And what's even crazier is that, from my perspective as a content creator, every single person right out there is churning out all those MacBook reviews, unboxing, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, they're riding the hype, and sure, that's good. Like, I definitely see the benefits of it. But the problem is, I've tried this before, and for a small creator like me, especially for, if you're starting off like new, you're basically just getting lost in the sea of the same content. And that was just like the best way for you to get lost, for me, I think, is to just pile on the hype. And now you're left with a bunch of expensive products that you don't really have any use for, other than I just wanted to do an unboxing. So I think from, maybe digressing a little bit from the main topic, actually not really, because timing is everything. That's what we were talking about.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah, timing is key.
So it doesn't mean that when, like, for example, there's hype behind a particular topic or product, it doesn't mean that you have to go all in. You have to really wait for your time, because it's not always going to be the right decision to just, all right, this is the topical thing, let's do it. I mean, I've seen people, it's kind of weird, but I've seen people shift their content from whatever content that they were creating to cryptocurrency all of a sudden, because it was the hottest thing. And then all of a sudden, when the hype went down, it's like they don't have content. I'm like, don't let the thing,
they lost themselves to the hype
exactly.
train, and they weren't true to what is it I want to do, and what is it that I'm passionate about sharing or presenting or creating. And again, so to your point, just simply making a review is one thing, but then knowing when to post it and being okay, if you're a small creator, I mean, it's taking your time to make it and get to a point where you really enjoy what you've made, and then you upload it, because okay, here's something I've thought about recently. Rivian's new truck is all the rage. The problem that I found was I actually didn't care about a lot of the reviews. I'm someone that really enjoys watching videos of cars, but the thing is, like, once I've seen one or two of them, I don't really feel this incessant need to keep keep going
Watches.
down that rabbit hole of more videos. I used to in the past, but now I realize, you know what? Like, if I've seen one and I've watched two, I probably know just about everything about the car itself already, and I don't need to spend more time on that. In the same vein, if I'm watching a review on like the new MacBook Pro, you know, The Verge will probably post one, and then like maybe like Marquez, you know, will post something, and after that, I'm like, I don't know, do I really need a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth?
Right. Yeah.
Or is it more compelling later on when I see another one's? Oh, it's like Savage Geese. Savage Geese. For those of you who don't, those of you that don't know, Savage Geese is a wonderful, wonderful automotive reviewer, content creator, and he posts about cars that are like just basically months later, after all the hype has died down. He'll do a really detailed, in-depth dive about these cars, and it's like, it's fine because I still find that compelling because I know that this person's persona and personality can give me I know what to expect, a detailed review of something that I can trust and that is unbiased. And if you as a content creator lean into that as well, I mean, that is so valuable as a customer or as a consumer. Even if I'm not that interested in the product itself, I can trust that, oh, you know what you're talking about and you did your homework. You know, integrity and like knowledge and confidence in a topic, that speaks so much. Versus if I know you just put something out because you're like, oh, I'm on a deadline, I need to get this out, I need to get that hype train. Do I feel like you did your due diligence and really did all your research? Probably not, right?
Yeah, exactly. That bit me in the butt a couple of times already, and that's one of the reasons why I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna fight this FOMO that I'm feeling when everyone's doing the same thing, because I know it's going to serve me better, like in the long run. And yeah, just because you were the last one to purchase, for example, a MacBook or whatever it is the new tech is, it doesn't mean that no one else is interested in buying it later on. So by the time that the hype's down, when everyone has gotten rid of that whole I need to, you know, put out content for the specific product, you know, thing, then there's nothing out there that's worth watching. It's again, it's like for me, when I watch my favorite creators, I pick one or two, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like I pick one and two, and I don't watch the rest of them. So for you to try to get into that same space, it's going to be really, really tough on you. So I think really consider the timing of when you want to publish that video or whatever. Like what you said, spend some time. Like this freaking Bose, this Bose ear, what do you call this? Like frames that I have. This came out, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. It's an old product. Hold on, there's a plane. I don't know if can you hear that? Ian?
A little bit, just a little bit.
Okay. It's a plane. I can't stop this. I'm going to pause this real quick. I can't help it. Like
That's fine. It's fine.
There's really nothing that I can do. Okay. I think it's gone.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay, great. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, those frames, like I knew that it's not, no one's talking about this. No one is talking about this at all. But just like me, there is someone out there who's curious about it and who wants to try it out, right? Who wants to figure it out if it's something that they are willing to part their money with, right? So I'm that person. So in a way, I'm basically trying to target me. And so although I may be 2 years late, at least I can really spend my time figuring this one out. And what I'm capitalizing on right now, honestly, is the shopping mood that people have. So it's not necessarily on sale, but it's one of the items that they may come across because they just want to buy something. So I think, you know, timing really is just about that, figuring out when you can be most effective with whatever it is that you're doing, a product, a review, and whatever content that you're thinking about.
Actually, I want to talk about timing from my company's perspective. This is back, last year? When did we launch our product? Was it last year or 2 years ago? My gosh.
I think it's like 2 years ago.
COVID has messed with me. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And in case, when we launched our Kickstarter for our latest product, the Drop and the Dock, we had a really clear timeline about when we wanted to release it. I think we launched it last year. So we knew exactly when we wanted to launch it, but then COVID hit. And then after COVID hit, it made it really difficult for us to determine when we were okay with launching our new product. And the reason for that was our new product was entirely based on the premise of going out and moving around. travel and leisure and
Right.
going outside. And all of that went right out the door because we were in the middle of the pandemic. So we were faced with this conundrum of, okay, our entire marketing campaign, all of our ads, our commercial, our copy, all of it is like, go outside, be like, go out and and do things, and we'll be right there alongside you. And the world is like, no, like, stay the F indoors. So we're like, crap, what do we do? Right? What do we do? We have invested so much time and energy and money into this campaign and this messaging. And on top of that, in the tech world, specifically with hardware, the product life cycles are so short. If we think about the fact that a new iPhone comes out every single year, new phones come out every year, new iPads almost every year, it's like the iteration cycle is so rapid, and also very, very capital intensive. And technology develops so quickly. So for us, we're like, okay, if we don't launch it now and we keep waiting to see what happens to COVID, we might never have a better time to launch. Or if by the time COVID is over, which, if we look at it right now, we're still in COVID. Yeah. And so if we kept waiting, chances are technology will improve and our product will be outdated. So we're faced with, do we launch now when it's terrible timing in terms of messaging and what the world's going through? Or do we try to wait things out, in which case we have no idea when that horizon will be, and at which point we might just be completely outdated. So we basically, we waited a couple months and we thought, you know what, we just got to go for it. Because we don't know when this will end, but at the very least we can try to pivot or slightly modify our messaging. But it's not perfect. And you kind of you just roll with it. You just deal with it. Everyone has to deal. Think about this. Everyone deals with the same situations, right? Everyone is dealing with the same chaos of Black Friday and the promos. Everyone is trying to review the same products that you might be trying to review, or everyone's trying to make content as well. So all you can really do is put your best foot forward. Try to think of something unique. How can you think outside the box and lean into it? So when Michael is doing this review about the Bose frames, I think it's hilarious and awesome. No one gives two craps about this. Exactly. I bet like 11 out of 10 people don't know what it is. It's like you'll never see it. Even if you're a Bose consumer, I don't think you know what the Bose frames are. And if you tried it, you'd be like, okay, sure. Like, I don't think it's worth that money. But it's so quirky. It's so funny that that this exists. And it's a great thing to review because then people will be like, oh, like, what the heck is this? Like, I didn't know they made this.
It's so different.
Yeah, it's so different. And that's what makes it fun. And I love the fact that, Michael is capitalizing on just this mood, this sentiment. Not about the product itself, but just, hey, you want to go out, buy some random stuff? Here's something random they never knew you wanted or needed, or probably don't want or need, but it's kind of just fun to know that exists.
Yeah. What's funny, too, is that the fact that there are probably a couple of people who know this, but have never really had enough of an interest to dive deeper into knowing what the product is. And so I'm basically speaking to those people. I'm like, okay, I'm like you. Like, I had no idea that this was a thing. But I came across it and I said, you know what? Let me try it out. Because just like me, you're probably wondering, but you just don't want to spend the money. Let me spend that money for you.
Exactly. So let me be your guinea pig. Yeah, your internet guinea pig, where I can waste my money for you, and you can repay me with your views and likes.
Please do that.
I actually have I have a relative. No one knows about this, so now I'm sharing it to the internet world. I recently purchased something. I returned it though, because I'm an adult. So I'm a big fan of Louis Vuitton. I think they make some awesome things. Not just their bags, but I think they have some great apparel, clothing, fashion clothing, and jewelry and accessories, etc. Louis Vuitton has really tried to make an effort to dive into the consumer electronics segment in the past couple of years. And it's extremely random, very niche, very esoteric. But for me, I actually have a pair of Louis Vuitton wireless earbuds. Now, I don't want anyone
earbuds.
I don't want anyone to go Googling this because you're gonna be like, "Holy crap, that's a lot of money." But let me just say,
people are going to Google.
They're beautiful. I love them. I think they are much more comfortable than my AirPods. And oh my God, are they a statement piece? Yeah. Look, fashion is not logical. Like high-end brands are not logical. You don't have to like like tell me about it. But like, hey, you like what you like, and you appreciate it for what it's worth, right? So.
Oh, you just brought up another thing that I want to talk about you on a future podcast. So I'm just gonna say it right now, so we remember it. Okay, we need to talk about the emotional aspect of these type of products.
Oh, like, totally.
Okay,
completely.
So just wanted to say
that entire podcast would just be us being like, "Oh, I would love a Zonda," or like,
or like just because I always have this conversation with people. Like it's like I have a normal old 2015 Subaru, right? Like an old car. It's all beaten and it's fine, right? It's fine. It does the job. And every time I bring up a topic of like I want to change a car, I want to buy a new car, I want something nice, and they're like, "Why? Your car doesn't work anymore?" Like, no, like I'm not buying it because it's a practical thing.
Yeah, you're like, exactly.
Yeah, people hide behind the whole, "Oh, I'm gonna buy it because I need it." I'm like, no, you don't. You don't need a new car. You just want it because it's an emotional purchase. Like it's a statement piece. Yeah, it's like
everything today.
Yeah, it's like I think Jason Kamisa. You know who Jason Kamisa is? He's one of those automotive. You'll like him. You'll find he has his own channel, but he said this in one of the reviews of a car that he did, and he said that cars, as much as we deny it, like they are our real world avatars. Basically, when we're driving around, we want people to know that we're doing well. We want to tell the world that this is me, this is my personality, and that's really what you're paying for. It's not about how many cup holders you have or how many gas mileage you get. You know what I mean? So I'm like, that's a good point. And that goes with tech and all. But I don't want to get into this topic because that's completely different.
That's such a fair point. I mean, like I'll be the first to say it. My company, my products, no one needs them. I've said it all the time. And it's something where you feel this emotional attachment. You feel this affirmation. Hey, I buy this product because I identify with like their design language and what the brand stands for and how they focus and on the product and the packaging and all that kind of stuff. That's the only reason you would really buy my products. It's not because you think, oh, I need a wireless charger. No, you can buy like a $2 wireless charger off Amazon if you really just want functionality. But we give you that lifestyle and that aspiration and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But back to my story again, because I know you will love this. So in the past couple of months, Louis Vuitton dropped a new product, and it was also an audio device. It was a Bluetooth speaker, and it looked insane. I'll send it to you on IG later. I'll find a post or something.
Okay.
Honestly, gorgeous. And I thought, like, it looked so cool. And I thought, I have to have this. I have to get this. Well, lo and behold, so I saw it on the Louis Vuitton IG, and a couple weeks later, I saw it was for sale, and I just bought it online. Take my money. And it arrives, like a week later, and it's the packaging, unboxing is just like phenomenal. Like Louis Vuitton, top notch. Fashion brands do a great job of packaging and all that kind of stuff, and Louis Vuitton really sets a great bar. And I'm so excited. I'm opening it with my friend who was like mocking me for doing this. Like what the F is wrong with you? I'm like, listen, just like humor me, right? And I unbox it, and like honestly, just so beautiful. And then like I start using it as a Bluetooth speaker, and it's so bad.
Did they even tie in with a different company, like Louis speaker by Harman Kardon?
Okay, like the wireless earbuds, they actually partnered with Master and Dynamic or whatnot.
Okay,
yeah. So like that was
brand.
legit. Yeah, that was totally legit. But for this one, I don't think they did, or if they did, like they don't say it, and because it's a completely like custom proprietary design, very clear. It's a very unique design. But in any case, I'm playing it, and I'm trying really hard to convince myself, yeah, it sounds good. Oh, yeah. No, like, the displacement is a joke. The quality, like, the low end is not there. The high end is barely there. It's just, like, one of the crappiest speakers I've ever listened to. And so...
It's a Louis.
It's a Louis. And so I put it on my nightstand in my room for all of a day, and I thought, no, this is ridiculous. So the next day, I actually drive it to Louis Vuitton and return it in store. And even the people there are like, "What is this?" They're like, "Wow, like we've never seen this," because it is so new.
Interesting. Send it to me. I want to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. And what's even funnier is I went back to Louis Vuitton 2 weeks ago, and it's still there. Like it's in the display.
They don't know what to do with it.
No one's gonna buy that. You want to guess how much it was?
I don't know, man. Like I am way out of that.
The speaker is like about. I mean, it's about this big. It's not that crazy. Yeah.
Is it insane if I say $3,000? Does that sound insane?
It is exactly $3,000.
Oh no way! I'm really thinking of a high number for a Bluetooth speaker. I'm like $3,000 would be like an entire system with a TV.
I know, and it's like. Listen, this is where I come to the fact that it's like emotional and nothing is logical about it.
Yeah.
But like from a design perspective, I think it looked beautiful, and that alone says a lot, right? That alone means a lot to a lot of people. And so for me, like I appreciate nice design. I'm a sucker for it. But
me too.
But there's a part of me where it's just like I cannot ignore the fact that this thing sounds like it sounds like it came from like 10 years ago. Where it just couldn't produce a decent sound. Yeah. And especially when you compare it to like our MacBooks, which have the best sounding speakers of anything I've ever come across.
It's crazy. My old 2015 iMac is one of the best sounding speakers that I've had. I mean, that's attached to a computer.
Exactly,
it sounds great. And I'm like, wow, that came out like years ago. I'm like, why are people buying speakers if this sounds great? It's crazy. Yeah,
which is why I really haven't bought a speaker in quite some time. Like there was a whole period of where Bluetooth speakers were really popular. And like Logitech had theirs, and the Jambox by Jawbone and whatnot. But like now it's like no, I have my AirPods, I have my computer, and then usually like if I'm watching TV, I might have a sound bar, but I'm not buying like Bluetooth speakers, like standalone Bluetooth speakers anymore.
Yeah, I think Bluetooth speakers has become the new next bar for these startups to try to reach, to kind of just climb that, I don't know, tech echelon. I don't know what you call it, but basically it's like, because the reason why I'm reminded of this is I was listening to a podcast with Stephen Yang, I think, the owner of Anchor, the CEO of Anchor. And
wait, is that the
Vergecast?
The Vergecast
one?
Or
Decoder?
Decoder, yeah. I read it. I didn't listen to it, but I read it.
You're gonna like it. You're gonna like that episode. I thought it was really interesting, but he was basically saying that from chargers to audio, and it seems like Bluetooth speakers is like the next. It's approachable for consumers, basically, right? Because there's a ton of us who want Bluetooth speakers. Before it was. Those were only held by companies like Bose or anyone that's a little bit more premium, right? Like only you would buy speakers from them. But now everyone's getting in the game, and they actually have really decent Bluetooth speakers. So I'm like, okay, I get it why people are moving that direction. So, but yeah, that's an interesting story about Louis, though. I never thought that they would actually try something that crazy. I never thought that someone as crazy as you would buy it.
Oh man, I mean, if you saw how much stuff I have from that one brand, it's a little disgusting.
We should have an episode of just talking about all the stuff that you bought.
That'd be a long episode. And I think it's best that people don't know. There's some things are best left, as secrets.
Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna try to get this out of you. I'll try my best.
But yeah, so I mean, timing again. Yeah. Timing for me as a company, timing for you as a creator. I just want to like go back to this. I think it is so tricky, and there's no right wrong answer. It will perform differently, but like you're not gonna know what the perfect time is. But you can kind of think your way through. And my strategies, I don't know what you do, but my strategy has always been put myself in the shoes of my customers and try to understand what are their spending habits. The other point I made about my customers not really being patient is because if we're targeting a higher end market, wealthier individuals are just not that patient. It's like, hey, if I want something, I'm just gonna buy it now. Why would I wait for a sale? Because for them, it's like the value of money is so different. And it's not to be like, it's like if they don't need to wait, they just don't have to wait. I'd rather enjoy the product right now than wait 4 months for it to go on sale.
Time is more valuable for them. Seriously, like that's what they're paying for. Like I don't want to wait. The time that they spend is much more valuable to them, I think. Yeah.
Exactly.
Completely different.
And so it's not to say that wealthy people can not wait for something. But it's just like if they don't have to, then they make that decision. It's pretty simple, And even and so like, and we have a pretty wide demographic of individuals in terms of like, both their, I would say like their income level and age range. And we see that it's like the same thing. Essentially, as long as you can afford our product, you're looking at our products, you can afford it, you'll just end up buying it, because at that point the price isn't really the main consideration. It's more just like, do I want it or not, and how badly do I want it? It's okay, I'll get it. Yeah.
I think from my perspective as a content creator, I would say about timing is that just don't give in to FOMO. Like that would probably be my best advice. So like what Yi said, like timing is very different for there's so many factors to consider. But if you don't give in to FOMO, at the very least, that means you're taking a beat, you're taking a breather, and making sure that what you're doing is you're considering all these different factors, right? And then I think by doing that, then you can really find the best timing for you and whatever it is that you're trying to create. Content around. You know what I mean? So my best advice really is just don't give in to FOMO. So, but go ahead and spend your money on Black Friday, because I want to see what you guys got. Actually,
we all do it.
Yeah, we all do it. I still do it. I mean, I still look online for what the best sale is, even though I say I never shop during Black Friday. I still do. I still do. So actually, that would be a good reminder for the ladies and gentlemen listening to this podcast, is that now you can interact with us on Spotify. For this particular episode, I'm going to type in a question there and basically let us know what you guys got for Black Friday, if it was an awesome deal, and what your experience is like. I want to know. We want to know. Definitely send us a message through there. And actually, I should probably just start saying our goodbyes right now, because it's about that time. So thank you so much for listening to the Coffee with Creators podcast. Please support the show by sharing this to your friends and your family to help us grow, because we are still not self-sustaining in that sense. Again, interact with us on Spotify. Reach out to us on Instagram at CoffeeWCreators. And you can also email us at coffeewithcreatorspodcast@gmail.com. And this episode is also going on YouTube. So please help us reach 100 subscribers so that people can find us, so we can have a custom URL and not that random jumbled letters and numbers, okay? So on behalf of my co-host Chelsea and Yi, thank you again for being here on today's episode. We thank you for listening to the Coffee with Creators podcast, and we hope to have you again next time. Take care.